I think two positions that we need to talk about today. And a lot of rumors are coming out now. Okay, we're going to be talking about the corner position with James Bradberry. Some new news has resurfaced a little bit. And obviously Hassan Reddick and the Eagles not getting the trade compensation that they want. And we're going to go over all of that. But there's one corner out there that's going to get his eye on the prize for that number 2 spot for this season. Let's get it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So I want to go over some news for the Philadelphia Eagles, a few things I definitely want to go over here. Now, we're going to be talking about James Bradberry because it has been almost so quiet to the point where it's like, man, like, does James Bradberry not have to worry about his job this season? It's really hard for me to say that because even after the contract that he did get, that, we were kind of surprised. They didn't sign Chauncey last offseason, and they went and gave Bradberry a big contract, and honestly a cheap contract because it was only like 13 million, 13 to, what was it, 12, $13 million contract. He could have got like 15 to 16 million that offseason. Now, here's some news here. It says, James Bradberry time ticking in Philadelphia. It says, you always look to improve. This is from Adam Schefter, by the way. It says, you always look to improve in the draft, but I haven't heard much talk about moving on from Bradberry yet. Again, I think they're always looking to upgrade everything. That's the nature of the team. We'll see how this figures with Bradberry. If you guys remember, even back when Howie Roseman had his combine, press conference and talked about how sometimes you do miss on some contracts. And I'm trying to think about this team and what contracts have been bad. And I got to say, like, the only contract I'd say that was probably more bad than none. And yes, the whole secondary played bad. Yes, we couldn't tackle. Yes, we had an incompetent defensive coordinator. We switched defensive coordinators. So I perfectly get it. But when it comes down to, like, seriously, who really has been underperforming? It has been James Bradberry, and Howie has talked about missing on some contracts. Now I'm starting to think right now. I think it's so quiet right now because the Eagles aren't jumping on anything, why they haven't traded for a corner, why corner might not be at the top of the list in this year's draft. I think part of it is because of one man. I think Isaiah Rodgers is a huge deal going forward. No joke. I think Isaiah Rodgers is, I think in Jeffrey Lurie's eyes, could be the starting number 2 next to Big Play Slay this year, or Darius Slay, I should say. Okay, because Jeffrey Lurie did mention he's the key part of our planning going forward, and it was a smart move by Howie to acquire Isaiah, and very optimistic he'll be fully on board very soon. Now, obviously, Isaiah Rodgers hasn't played in a year because he was suspended for gambling last year. He's on the commissioner's exempt list. He will have a meeting with Roger Goodell. I don't know when this is going to happen. But hopefully soon, obviously before training camp, I would say maybe after the draft it will happen or something like that. I don't think there's any rush right now. He hasn't talked to one teammate. He hasn't talked to any. He hasn't been around the team. He hasn't done nothing. When you're on the exempt list, you can't be around the team or do anything. You can only watch from afar, and that's pretty much it. Isaiah Rodgers was a highly ranked cornerback, a couple years ago, or at least 2 years ago. Is a great special teamer, brings a lot more to the team. And I think he's ready, so this could be a move. Okay, this could be a move where the Eagles might say, hey, we might have an upgrade in-house. And how old is Isaiah Rodgers? 24, 25? I mean, he's pretty damn young. So I think when he was released by the Colts, because of he was going to get suspended, I think this was the perfect time for the Eagles to strike and to add more bodies going into this offseason, this training camp. I feel really good about it. I mean, look, I could be wrong about this whole entire thing, but the way they talk about Isaiah Rodgers and the way how quiet it was with James Bradberry, and why, I know that the mock drafts do change over time, but why do so many mock drafts have the Eagles taking a corner in the first round? Cooper Dejean is coming off a broken fibula, and, why do you think the Eagles are going to get him? Because they think he's going to drop in the draft. he might not even be a first-round pick. I mean, who knows? You know what I mean? Guys drop in the draft because of injuries. They get him at a nice cost value. I think they're looking for another cornerback right now. And I think they have their cornerback as of right now in Isaiah Rodgers. And it could be the case. I'm really excited. I'm not excited to see, like, if there's a post-June cut for James Bradberry going forward, because, you know, that 15 will turn to 10 million in dead cap. They can extend Bradberry. They can spread out the dead money. Realistically, keeping Bradberry this year is very cheap. It's only 4 million against the cap, so it's not like the Eagles are, you know, are in debt. If, you know, and all these Eagle fans saying they can't move his contract, it's impossible. It's not impossible. I mean, we got rid of a Carson Wentz contract that was in double digits. We had to eat that up for what, 3 years? I mean, if the Eagles can eat, you know, a split of $10 million in single digits for a couple years, perfectly fine with that. But I don't believe Bradberry is going to be here. I just don't believe it. I'm just saying because of what's been being said so far. You know, now, you know, just think about it. Isaiah Rodgers comes in at outside cornerback. You know, you got nickel spot's going to be nuts right now. So Tyler Hall, you know, that has played on a certain amount of snaps, has been one of the best corners at a real cost-effective rate for the Eagles. I think they might have their nickel already in the building as of right now. You know, we'll see. But it's already shown Avonte Maddox isn't coming back. Isaiah Rodgers will be the outside new number 2. And it's just showing a lot right now. So we'll see what happens, but I don't believe Bradberry is going to be here. I believe they're taking their time on it because they don't have to make a trade for a guy. They feel like they might have somebody in-house, and the Bradberry thing might happen later on. Maybe not now, maybe not a day from now, maybe not even a week from now. So I would hold on to your seatbelts a little bit because I feel like this Isaiah Rodgers thing is more him coming to the Eagles this year, especially this offseason. The offseason program is going to be more interesting than we can believe. And if Bradberry is even getting post-June cut, then you could definitely believe they're drafting a corner or Isaiah Rodgers is going to move up to that number 2 spot. We'll see what happens going forward, but should be interesting. Now, Haason RECC. We heard from Jeffrey Lurie the other day. We heard a couple days ago, we heard that he, you know, that everything's going to fall in place in a good way, which sounds fantastic. RECC coming back is going to happen. I believe it because the Eagles are seeking a second-round pick. That's been the news so far as of recent. Okay, the Eagles are not getting the trade compensation they want, and they should get that, to be honest with you. Okay, I know the Falcons apparently made a deal or put out a deal for the Eagles to accept or decline. I've heard nothing from the Cardinals or any other team. I've only heard Atlanta. Atlanta is having a lot of interest in Assan RECC so far, and so far nothing has happened. They're not getting the trade compensation they want because I think part of this not only is getting value for Assan RECC, but part of this is comp picks as well. If you trade, you get a second round pick, or at least if you trade him away, maybe you get a third round comp pick for next year because the highest comp pick you can get is a third rounder. So I guess getting that second round pick might make a difference. It seems like the Eagles are not going to get it. So it looks like rumor-wise, okay, for Assan RECC going forward, and Derek Gunn actually said this today. He said Eagles are still deciding what to do with the Assan RECC situation. He still wants more money than the Eagles are willing to pay. As of now, if he were to return to the Eagles, he would play for what his contract currently states. So the only thing I have an issue with this is the cap number. The cap number is huge, okay? So if he just plays on the current contract, okay, the Eagles are not going to save any money from this. That's the problem as of right now. If the Eagles at least try to extend him or restructure him, I can't see them not restructuring him and giving that You're getting $11 million back in a restructure, and an extension, and a trade. $11+ million in cap space. Big chunk of money. Eagles are sitting at what, 28 to 33 million, something. I know some of these other contracts that we signed some guys, I know some of those contracts have been fixed and starting to get added to what we have now, but you're going to have you could pretty much have $40 million in cap space with this move alone. So I don't see them sitting with his current contract. I see them restructuring him, giving him more guaranteed money, okay? And keeping him happy, really. That's what I kind of see out of this whole entire situation. So I'm glad Howie hasn't faltered, Howie hasn't went down on his price. I'm glad he is sticking to his price, and it seems like Assan REC is not budging either. So if both sides are not budging, he should just stay for the year, get his agree to the restructure, get more guaranteed money, get a nice big chunk of money this year. You know what I mean? Just make a big chunk. And then go into free agency after this season. You know what I mean? Because by that time, the Eagles will probably be done with Assan REDDICK after 1 year. I would really like to extend him at least 1 year if they could, but I understand why they're not doing it. And as you know, for trade purposes, the Eagles gave it a shot. They tried. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, but L'Jarius Sneed was traded for a 25 third rounder. Brian Burns has less statistics, a lot younger, and the Giants trade a second round pick and then some. So what do you think you're getting for Assan REC just because of stats? But he's got value. Unfortunately, between him and Myles Garrett are the only two players on the edge right now that I would trade high picks for, or teams should trade high picks for, because those are the type of guys that could literally start on your NFL team day one and produce immediately. Especially if you're in a more aggressive system, forget it. Assan REDDICK is just going to shine. So it's interesting, and I don't think he's going anywhere. It just doesn't sound like they're really moving anywhere. And I guess Jeffrey Lurie kind of said the other day, like, it's going in a good direction, or, whatever he said. So that was great to hear from him, at least that good things are happening with that. Meaning that if it's a good thing, that means he's coming back. That means the Eagles can't give. You give away REDDICK for a third, fourth round pick. I think it's the biggest mistake you're gonna make, because it's a waste. I'd rather have him. I don't even care if it's the third and the fifth round pick. I don't even care how many mid to late round picks you get for him. I'd rather have him here playing under his contract, or a restructured deal, or an extension for more money, or whatever. Okay, and not having him in this line than trading him for nothing, pretty much. At least I have to give respect that Howie tried to get as much. You want to trade a specific player because you know he's going to have value. That's perfectly fine. The Eagles tried to do that. It didn't work. And that's just been what's going on with that situation with Assan REDDICK. Let me know what you guys think about the whole entire situation with Assan REDDICK. Let me know what you guys think about the Bradberry situation. Do you think it's so quiet right now because they have something in-house? They're not really worried too much. They've added, Isaiah Rodgers coming in, Tyler Hall coming in. So the Eagles will have a lot of bodies at corner this year. A lot of bodies. And guys coming off injury too, like Zach McPherson off the ACL. So it's going to be interesting. Let me know what you guys think about, obviously, these two moves, and what do you think is going to happen. We have the draft. We have a lot of things coming up. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. And make sure you like the video, because it does help the channel a lot. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes it up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.